What's up, everyone? I think we're rolling in Facebook, the Coach Sean Smith page, and YouTube. I want to make a major announcement about our upcoming certification program. So, a lot of you know that we do a lot of certification programs in our company, and that's one of the main things that we do is helping people become certified coaches. Now, the content can really be applied to a bunch of different things. It's probably as much a leadership training as it is a coaching training, but I know there are a lot of you out there that already are coaches or you want to be coaches. And virtually everything that we do is for transformational coaching. And there is a distinction between informational coaching and transformational coaching. And I would say almost all of the coaching industry, primarily all of personal development, I think, is trying to help people change their lives with information. And that will only work never. It's impossible to change your life with information. But we get caught up in the information overload and overwhelm and like this information economy. And it's easy to stay in the surface level depth of information after information after information. And because of that, nearly nobody actually changes their lives because we don't implement the information at a level deep enough and with a time long enough with the support that's required to actually make any sort of significant changes in our lives. So we just go from this little crumb to that crumb to that crumb to that crumb, and we get overwhelmed by so much information. It's really, really frustrating for a lot of people. And I think over the last couple of years, all of that is worse. I've been talking to a lot of people, especially recently over the last couple of weeks, about how we're exhausted by all the online world. It was cool several years ago where we could really do so much online, but now we do so much online and it's just not cool anymore. It's not novel anymore. And we've been so programmed by social media and online marketing in general, and the media in general, society, like we've just been so programmed into this shallow level informational, like toe dipping. It's like we're in the kiddie pool, the water is going up to maybe our ankles and that's about it, right? And the more that we've been programmed into that, and the more that artificial intelligence and algorithms and all the social media stuff that they've got going on, the more that gets a hold of us, the harder it is to break that pattern. So I think over the last several years, most of us have been just slowly or quickly getting into this pattern of surface level consumption of information. And it's just easy to go from one thing to the next, right? And that's what all the companies want us to do. They want us to be addicted at a surface level so that we just stay there. So everything that we do in our company is based on transformational coaching. And if you want to be a transformational agent, that's just different. There's nothing wrong with selling information or offering information, nothing wrong, but it's not the same as offering transformation. So if you want to be a transformational coach, you have to do things differently because you're selling a different product to different people for different reasons. And the reason that somebody would buy transformation is different than the reason that somebody would buy information. So what I promise you most coaches are doing, and if any of you are really struggling, I can virtually guarantee this is what you're doing. You're taking a recipe that works for information and trying to apply it to transformation. And that's like learning how to build a business from a construction company and then trying to apply it to your massage business, right? Like it's just so wildly different that of course it doesn't work because it's a different product with different people with different buying strategies. So if you want to be a transformational agent and a transformational coach specifically, you need to show up differently. You have to have a different level of not just intentionality, but a different level of energy. And that's got to come from a rooted certainty about what you're talking about. In the coaching world, there's so much focus on how to get clients and so little focus on how to be a good coach, how to be a really, really good coach. I almost swore, but I never swear inside of the first 5.5 minutes of a video. So stay tuned. It's probably coming. There's so little focus on how to be a really, 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 really damn good coach. I was waiting to the 5.5 minute mark so I don't break any of my own personal integrity promises that I made to myself. If you're really good as a coach, people will find you, people will hire you. If you just try to overcompensate for not being all that good as a coach or not being confident and certain in yourself, then the best thing you can do is fool people into hiring you, and then they're never going to come back. And you're not going to be fulfilled. And most of you just really want to help and teach people anyway. You don't want to learn all these sales tactics. So in the coaching industry, if you want to be a transformational coach, you have to do the transformational work. And for transformational coaches, there are 4 different phases there. We're going to break this down in the weeks to come, so I'm not going to break it all down here. But the first phase is information. So I said there's nothing wrong with information. In fact, it's the most important first step is information. But then the second phase has to be immersion. There's got to be some kind of immersive experience where you dive into the content. And what that usually means is some kind of a live event. In the coaching world, in the certification world, that means some kind of a live event. You can't be immersed just by following a course online. That's not immersion. You've got to be immersed. Now, you can be immersed in an online version of a live event. It doesn't have to be in person necessarily. There are a few distinctions that you're going to get in person versus live online, but they both can be immersive experiences. And if you never get to that immersion level, you can't make it. You cannot make it. I've never seen it happen. If you want to be a transformational coach and you never immerse yourself in transformation, you can't make it, nor should you make it, because you're trying to sell something you haven't experienced. So if you want to be a transformational coach, then do the things that you have to do in order to put yourself in a situation where you can become your own product and you can give an energy that's inviting to people. And you don't have to keep trying to jump over your imposter syndrome or trying to avoid the things that are really uncomfortable for you. When people are really struggling with messaging and marketing and consistency and all the things that are important and required for a business, I think it's usually because they haven't gotten to the point where they really fully become the essence of transformation, the product, and they know it. And it takes a while. It's not a quick fly-by-night kind of thing where you're just going to sign up for a few courses and listen to a few things or, podcast style transformation. That it just doesn't happen. There's no such thing as informational transformation. There's got to be immersion. You've got to have an experience of it. So I say all of that because we are offering our immersive certification course next month. We do this roughly every 6 months, give or take, depending on what's happening in the world. Last year, we only did 1 ECCP. Usually we do 2. And this year, the first ECCP is April 24th through the 28th. ECCP. That is the immersive experience. Some of you have already gone through our informational stage, which is called BCC, Breakthrough Coaching Certification Program. And if you've done that, then you can just get into like the upgrade into ECCP. For those of you that haven't done either of those, but you want to, if you want to jump in at a deep dive level, then you can get both of those products at the same time, so that you jump in and you start you start studying. That's not the word I was looking for, but you start consuming BCC, and then after you do all that, then ECCP will be waiting for you April 24th through the 28th. So I'm not going to dive into all of the elements. I mean, first of all of the elements would take days and days and days, but I'm not going to dive into a lot of the specific elements of ECCP and BCC and transformational coaching. We're going to do that over the next several weeks. We're going to break down so many different concepts and discussion points. We're going to dissect things and make a lot of distinctions for you all. That's all coming. That's not my intention here in this video. My intention here in this video is to let you know, especially those of you that know you already want to do a certification program, or you've been following us for a while and you know you want to do ours, that we've got a window here, a 1 week window, where we are taking an additional $500 off. So we're offering ECCP lower than we've ever offered it before, for only a week. Today is March 3rd as I'm filming this, and it goes to Friday, March 10th. That's the end of the week. And what that is an additional $500 off the normal prices, which I think are already too low if this is kind of the work that you want to do. But it requires a level of it being transformational coaching and the evolutionary process of growth and becoming an entrepreneur and all that good stuff. There's this process of mastery that's required. You've got to be in it to learn at a mastery level, not just at a regurgitation level. That's why information doesn't change your life, because information is just regurgitation. You can recall information, you can regurgitate information, but it's not going to change your life until you implement the information. And that requires the immersion that I'm talking about, right? So for this limited time, this 1 week time, we're going to give you an additional $500 off. So I'm going to give you some coupon codes here, 2 coupon codes for the additional $500. It's PIF 500 or PP 500. And that just is determined by whether you want to pay in full or whether you want to do a payment plan. So all of the information on ECCP, on this immersive certification program, which is 5 days, like I said, all online, so you get to save a bunch of your expenses on flights and all that stuff, can be found at coachshansmith.com/ECCP. You can go there, you can read up on the whole event, get all the information, etc. And then if you know you want to go, click on the button that says register for the event, I think is what it says. And then it'll take you to the order page. And on the order page, there's a coupon code space. And that's where you'll put PIF, which stands for pay in full, if you want to pay in full, 500, PIF 500, all caps. And that'll take $500 off the price. So you'll get both of these programs for less than $2,000, $1,997. You get both of the programs. And we've never offered all the programs at that price before, so it's a great deal. And I just want to incentivize you guys to jump in, especially something that you know, if you know you want to do it. And the tickets are good for 2 full years. So if you want to take advantage of the price drop, but the dates of April 24th through the 28th don't work for you, then you can just extend the ticket out to one of our upcoming events. And we usually do them right around every 6 months or so. So there's really no risk in jumping in if you know you want to do it, even if the dates don't end up working out for you. So PIF 500 or PP 500, and that will take the price off for you. For those of you that are in BCC, I just did a video in the BCC group. Go there because there's some specific information that relates to you only in BCC. So I don't want to try to confuse people with, speaking to that here on the main channels here. But if you're already in BCC, go check that out over there. I think the last thing that I want to say on this video is I've just been getting more and more clear and committed about what our world needs. And I think what our world needs, especially in the context of personal development and even more specifically in the coaching world, what our world needs is more transformational agents putting transformational products and information and messages out into the world. I think we live in a world that has become much flatter of a human experience. The information we consume is shorter and shallower than I think it's ever been. And all the algorithms are driving us to continue that trend. It's not a trend, I don't think, but continue that direction of shallow, short information consumption. And that's sad to me because nobody's ever going to change their life that way. But that's how all the money is made. So in the way that everything is set up, Instagram is not going to change its business model to produce more human transformation. Instagram is going to do whatever it possibly can to produce more corporate profits. Facebook is going to do the same thing. TikTok is going to do the same thing. All the channels are going to do what makes them the most amount of money. And unfortunately, what makes them the most amount of money is the flattening of the human information experience. Because it's just easy for us to go from one video to another, to a blog article, to an audio, to a podcast. All this. It's just easier for us to stay addicted at a surface level. And they're just making fathomable amounts of money. And they're getting us addicted with automation, right? So we have to go against that current. And the current is really strong. The only way you're going to be able to go against that current is if you have strength and rootedness in the certainty of what you're putting out there. And it's not just about selling coaching programs if you want to be a coach. It's not just about getting on stages if you want to be a speaker. It's about changing the dynamics in your family. It's about changing the communication that you have with your children if you have kids, with your spouses, with yourself in the mirror. There's an internal transformation that happens when you go into the immersion style learning, as long as that's set up, if it's set up that way, right? It's not just going to happen anytime you go to a live event, but it's got to be set up that way. And we set up all of our programs for what works to help people transform their lives and then become transformational agents in the world. And I know I'm kind of speaking a little bit of sort of, woo-woo kind of stuff. And this is not the way that you're supposed to sell, programs. You're supposed to guarantee people real quick results. You're supposed to guarantee that this is going to be easy. You're supposed to guarantee that anybody can just waltz right in here. And as soon as the program is over, you're going to have a full coaching calendar of people paying you high ticket prices. And it's all bullshit. It's all 100% bullshit, but it's what sells. I mean, humans crave their fantasies. We want this fantasy of effortless success. And I don't mean effortless in the sense of it being easy and in flow. I mean like no effort. That's what we want. We all want it. I'm speaking out against it and I still want it. We want it. We want the shortcuts to be true. We want to be able to succeed without confronting any of the things that are uncomfortable for us. But I'm just at a point now in my life or career, or I don't know why, but where I'm just not interested in I'm not interested in anything that's just going to bring money in. I'm not interested in selling the fantasies anymore. Not that I don't know that I ever was, but I'm just always going to be 100% open and blunt, maybe to our detriment, I don't know, but with the reality of, and I'm not trying to say like it's going to be brutal and like, you're going to be crying every night for 5 years, because that's also not true. What we think about the journey is not true. But the reason that we tell ourselves that the journey is so hard is to make buying the fantasies the better choice. That's why our brains basically like scare us with how difficult transformation is going to be, because our brains want the turnkey, shallow, short-lived, guaranteed shortcuts to be true. So if we can be scared of the alternative option, then this one makes a whole lot of sense. But if you're like most people, you've probably spent a ton of money and a ton of time on individual shortcut attempts that never work. And if you were to take a tenth of the money and the time and actually put it into the foundational work to where you become more rooted, you become more confident, you become more certain, you really fully understand the process of transformation, and you fundamentally and foundationally change your life, you'd be amazed at what you could then produce, right? So most of us have spent, I don't know, 10 times more in time, energy, and money in chasing all the fads than in actually putting our time and commitment into the foundation, right? So if you're interested in being a fundamentally transformed human, then let's talk about transformation and let's get into this immersive experience. And our version of that is called ECCP. So I'm going to stop there with the content and my rants. There's going to be plenty more in the weeks to come. So stay connected, stay on our email list. If you're on our email list, if you're not on our email list, go to coachseansmith.com. Just go to coachseansmith.com, and at the top, there's a bunch of free resources, and you can click on any of, there's a drop-down menu. You can click on that and get any of those free resources. Then you'll be on our main email list. And if you need something specific to go to, then go to coachseansmith.com/9 laws. The number 9. I usually get letter and number. So I almost always get letter and number wrong. I think letter, but say number, or I just mess it up. And I'd say I'm at a 95% failure rate when it comes to floor and ground. Like floor is, you're on a floor. That usually means like you're in a house. There's carpet or there's hardwood floors or something like that. That's a floor, right? The ground is anything on the earth. That's my distinction, at least. And I would say almost 100% of the time, when I mean ground, I say floor. And when I mean floor, I say ground. I don't know what it is. I can even feel like, because you know how you know what you're about to say before you actually say it. So I can even feel like, all right, I'm coming to the ground floor decision point, and I still mess it up almost all the time. And I just did it right now with the letter 9. This episode brought to you by the letter 9. CoachSeansmith.com/9 laws. The digit 9, the number 9, and then the number laws, the letter laws. 9 laws, 9 LAWS. If you want something specific, you can go to that. That is a free training on the 9 laws of entrepreneurship. It's a downloadable ebook, so you can read it, but it's also a video training attached to it that goes real deep into the 9 irrefutable laws of entrepreneurship that you have to understand if you even have a chance at success in entrepreneurship. So you can go there and join our list there. Or obviously, if you're on our list and you want that resource, you can go there. So stay connected. If you're on our list, be open in the emails. And if you're subscribed to these channels, just be on the lookout for when we start breaking down, making a lot of these distinctions about transformational coaching and tactics and inner game and fears and like all kinds of stuff. We're going to be teaching a lot over the next 4 to 6 weeks or so, leading up to our ECCP event. We're going to do a demo day where you're going to see a lot of unscripted, unedited, unfiltered, real coaching sessions. We'll probably do a webinar. We're going to break down all kinds of stuff. So just be on the lookout. And if you know you want to join anytime in the next 2 years or next month, then you have this window where you can take $500 off. Go to the website, coachseansmith.com/ECCP. If you want to pay in full, PIF 500. If you want the payment plan, PP 500. And all the letters are capitals. I said it right, letters. Capital numbers is a whole different thing. You should always capitalize your numbers. That's my philosophy, at least. Because if you don't capitalize your numbers, that's psychotic. if you have any questions about anything, let us know. Drop a comment here wherever you're watching this. Send an email. Show up on our doorstep if you got our address, and we'll answer whatever questions that we have. And we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully, we'll see some of you in ECCP. And let's put some more transformation into the world. All right, everyone. Take care. Talk to you soon.